Welcome to this guide, and in this tutorial now we are going to talk about how to create the front end survey page where the user can be able to interact with our survey and submit the input or the feedback through the form that we will have given in that area. Now, how do you do that? You just go to our editor, that is VS Code. You go to file and then you go to new file, and then you're going to create a file called survey.php. Then you click on create. Then we are going to save in the same root directory, and then you just click create. Now here we're just going to start with our HTML part. Then you have our head. Inside our head we can have our title. Inside that title we're going to say survey. And then we just go to our body section, and in this body section I'm going to start with the PHP. Then you have that closing PHP, and then you open in there, and then you just check first the connection by using new Mysql, then localhost root, then the password is supposed to be empty, then the type of the name of the database is supposed to be Gumzo. Then you just put a semicolon at the end, and then you go to the next one. It's survey ID is supposed to be underscore survey ID. So what we're going to check here is the ID for the survey already set. So if not, you are supposed to give us some output. So survey supposed to be in single quotes, then you say survey ID, then you end with a semicolon, then query is equal to con, then you put hyphen, and then the opening the angle bracket greater than angle bracket. Then you're going to say prepare, and then say select from survey question, questions where survey ID is equal to then a question mark, because we expect the user to give us input, so we leave it like that. And then you go to the next one, you say query, then you say query hyphen, and then the greater than sign, and then bind, just a bind param. Then we specify the following parameter that are going to be used to bind this part, and then we just say that $survey ID. So these are the parameters that we'll be using to connect the application with the database. Then we have got the $query, and then that, and then you execute. Good. Then you continue $question, $questions, and then you just say that $query, and then you just put the hyphen, and then the greater than sign. Then you say get results, get results, and then you just put the hyphen and then the greater than sign, and then you say fetch all. Then you just say my SQLi association. Then you continue, just say if server, then you have the request method. The request method is supposed to be, just put there the is equivalent to, so it's supposed to be outside. The request method is supposed to be equivalent to the post. Okay. Then you end with the curly bracket and then you enter, and then you say that name is equal to $post, and then you just say name. And then after that we highlight this, copy, and then you replicate it 4 times. So in there now we are going just to change the parameters name, the variable names, and then we just need to so we are going to change this each one of them. So I've just been able to do that, replicated everything, and then I've just changed everything. You got the next one, that is $query. $query is equal to $con. So prepare. Then prepare, what are you preparing? To insert the following. So you're going to insert into participants what? The following. We're going to insert the following into participant. So we have that. So we're going to say survey ID. Okay, so it's supposed to be inside the bracket. So survey ID, survey underscore ID, the name, the email, the phone, and then we need to have the response 1, then we have got the response 2. Then outside the bracket you just write values, capital values. Then now it's supposed to open the open and close the bracket, and then inside there you just put the question marks, which means that we expect the user to give us input. So how many blank spaces are those? 6 blank spaces. So we need 6 question marks. 6. So this is 6 question marks, and then make sure you have the closing bracket, and then you have the single quote, and then you need to have the closing bracket, and then you put the semicolon at the end, and then you got the next one, that is the query. So we query, and what are we querying in this case? We are going to query to bind param. Inside the bind param, the following are the parameters that you're going to use. So ISIS, then outside there we are going to use survey ID, comma, the name, the $sign name. Then we are going also to use the $sign email, then the $sign phone, then the $sign response, 1, then the $ response to that. Then after doing that, we just put the semicolon at the end. Then we go to the last one, the another query command. So I say query, and then you just put the hyphen and then the open the angle greater than angle sign, and then you just say execute, and then you have that bracket there. Then we move to the next part, that is our CSS part now, our HTML part. So let's move out of this. So remember, we are having this is our PHP part. So just want to move it this side so that it's possible enough. So our PHP ends here, so you just click enter, and then now you enter our HTML part. And then in HTML, basically you are focusing on the form. Then method for the form is supposed to be post. Inside there is supposed to be post. Yeah. Then the action is supposed to be none, so you don't have any action there. Then you close that bracket, and then you continue the angle bracket, and then you continue. So we're going to start with the PHP part. So we're going to say PHP for each. So it means we are dealing with an associative array in this case. Then we're going to say that $question $questions as $questions as what? $questions as $index. So that's our variable, and then you have the equal sign and then the greater than sign, and then we are going to say that $question, not questions. So basically that is the way we are going to do the associative, the for each, that we are going to iterate through the array of string, that is the questions that you have been given. So we are going to iterate through it so that we can be able to get the response from the user. Now at the same time, we're going to have that full colon, and then you have the closing PHP tag there. Then you move to the next part. We are going to have heading 3, and this heading 3 we are going to say that we are going to have our HTML special character, which is equal to HTML special characters. And then in this case we are going to say that we need the $question, and then you need to have the square bracket, and into the square bracket you're supposed to give the question 1. Then after that you need also to put some kind of space in between there, and then you close after the bracket. Remember, we have the bracket here, so after that bracket you're supposed to put some space, and then you need to have the closing bracket like that. So that is the anchor. This is the closing PHP tag that you have just used there to help us to close everything in that particular area. So everything is intact, and then we just move further. Maybe I can just make sure that this is okay, like that. Okay, we'll just be able to look at it as we go further. I think this one is supposed to be there. So they say convert special characters to HTML entity. So we are converting that using that, so that is correct. So I can do this again. I can go to input type equal to radio, input type equal to radio, and then the name is supposed to be equal sign to response, like that, response. Now this response is also going to be fetched from the database, so we're going to say opening that equal sign, then we just say that dollar sign index, and then we just say +1. So meaning that it's going to look through, and every time it's going to add +1, add at least one index every time. So this is to say that we are going to expect the responses, and these responses keep on, we are going to increment it by 1. Then the value, so we're just closing that because we started with the radio button here, and then we have closed it here, and then we have the name here. It is being closed at that point, this one, at this point. That is where the response is coming to an end. And then now we need to create the value, and the value we are going to give it okay. Also you need to open the double quotation, the angle bracket, and then you need to have the question mark, then equal sign, and then we just say HTML special characters, and then you just say question into brackets, you just say $question, and then you just open say into in the square bracket, and then you just say option 1, like that. Then you continue outside that bracket, outside that square bracket. You are just supposed to have the angle, the question mark, and then the closing angle bracket, and then make sure you have the double quotation outside there to close that part. So they are saying that this part is not expected, so let me check what might be the problem. So we have the value, the angle bracket, the question mark is equal to HTML special characters, and then the $question, option 1, and then you have supposed to have the bracket here. So the bracket is supposed to be here. That's why it's saying that it is not expected. So I think that is okay. And then after that, you are just supposed to ensure that required. So this part is supposed to be required. So we are still within the bracket. We are still within the bracket. Then you just say required, and then you close the angle bracket. So this one is the input. So input start from this point for the radio, and then up to this point for that one. Yeah. So that is it about that, and then we just move further. So there's some mistakes somewhere, just want to make sure I correct first. This yes, I think there is a mistake here, so we don't need to have this because this one has been opened here and closed here, so there's no point of having it outside there. So that is it. Then that is option 1, and then you need just to replicate this to get the option 2. So I'm just going to copy this code. I'm just going to copy this part here like that, copy, and then I just paste it here, down here. So click here, then I just paste it here, and then I just need to change where we have got the response. It's okay. So special characters question, and then you just respond to the option 2. Option 2 required. So option 2, then you have required. Okay, so after required we are going to add this, that I think that is okay. So let me try this. So we need to have the opening the bracket, the angle bracket, and then you're supposed to have the $sign, and then you just say equal sign, and then you just say HTML special characters. Then in there you can just say that this is option 2. I think that is already captured. I think this is already captured in our program, therefore it is here already, so I don't think we should repeat it. Then what you need just to do here, you're just supposed to have the $sign PHP and for each, and then you need to have the semicolon, and then you just say $sign, the question mark, and then you just close the angle bracket. The next thing you need to do inside that, again, we need just to go ahead and inside the form again, we are going to create the next part, that is the input type is equal to text. We need a text box of the name, so a text box for the name, and then the placeholder is equal to your name is required. Your name is required. Okay, then after that, outside here we're just supposed to put that closing angle bracket. Then you move to the next part, and then you just say so I just replicate this. I'm just going to copy this, and then I replicate, copy, and then I just replicate like that. Then I just change the name here to email. So yes, not text is supposed to be email. Then the email is supposed to be given at the name email, and then also it's supposed to be given the placeholder you enter. Your email is required. Your email is required. Then you go to the next one. They're saying that the name is supposed to be text, and then it's supposed to be phone, and then the phone, the placeholder, your phone is required. The phone number is required. Phone number is required. Phone number is required, and then you just submit button. So you need to have a submit button down here. Just say input, just say button type is equal to submit, is equal to submit, and then you just say that close that, and then you just say submit survey, and then you just close the button like that. So that is okay. We have done with the form. Now if I save this, so I go to my browser, and then I just try to refresh. So I can go back to my main directory, and then I just want to see the survey.php. Just want to see if everything is running. So you can see we still have that issue, that undefined array key survey ID, because we have not created the survey yet. So that's why we are having that error. But once you have created the survey, you see everything is going to line up. You can see we have everything that is going to be involved there. your name is required here. So you can see it is aligned in this manner. So we are going to do some kind of complete, we are going to have one CSS file that is going to be applied in all our PHP files that we have created starting from scratch, so we can be able to put everything in order and be able to execute it while it's going to run. So stay put as we create the CSS file together in our next tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can be able to be informed every time I create another content. Bye bye for now.